everybody, it's the War Hipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial for the Emperor's Children, and we are painting the big dog, but not the biggest dog, but we are painting Lucius the Eternal. Now, this is kind of bittersweet in some ways because, well, we've done all the others. We've done Khan, we've done Ahriman, we've done Typhus, and now comes the last. But this one comes to us because Games Workshop were very kind and sent him to me early to build up and paint with all of you. So that is exactly what we are going to be doing, and I cannot wait to jump in. So that's what we're going to do. He has been primed in Grey Seer, and the colour we're going to be using first is Black Legion. And we're going to be applying this over the top of all of Lucius's power armour and the servo joints or soft fibre cabling and that kind of thing that's in the joints, basically. Now you'll notice on the box art that he does actually have a bit of variation contained within his armour. We are going to be putting that in a little bit later in quite a cool way. So for now, we're just going to get this Black Legion over the top of all of it, and we'll do all of that a little bit later on. So with all of that Black Legion applied, what we're now going to do is going to take some Shyish Purple, and we're going to apply this over top of his corset, for lack of a better word. So with that Shyish Purple all applied, we actually applied it over the top of that jewellery that's here, the kind of Slaneshi sausage links, for lack of a better word. And what we're going to do next is we're going to take some Reikland Fleshshade, and we're going to apply this over the top of all of the skin that is mounted upon Lucius's armour. So there's this bit here on the leg, and we've got the tabard as well. And we've got the bit on the backpack. So with that all done, just whilst we're waiting for it to dry, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Wyldwood, and we're going to apply this over the top of all the leather details. And so with that all done, we're now going to take some Dreadful Visage. We're going to apply this over top of Lucius's skin. So with that all done, what I'm going to do is going to work on all three of his tongues. Yes, 3 tongues. We have the tongue itself, we have the lash, and we have this tongue here. And what we're going to do is we're going to do this in 3 stages, and they're going to be blended. Now the first of these is not going to be blended. It's going to be a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Lahmian Medium and Volupus Pink. And we're going to apply this over the top of, well, all 3 of these details, as mentioned. Just whilst we're waiting for all that Volupus Pink to dry, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Dark Angel's Green. And we're going to apply this over the top of any smooth cables and pipes, as well as the canisters on the top of the backpack. With that all done, we're still waiting for the Volupus Pink to dry. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some Targor Rageshade. I'm going to use this over the top of the tabard. And with that all done, we're then going to take some Druchii Violet and we're going to apply this over the top of the skin on the leg, the skin on the backpack, and we're also going to apply this over the top of the sword blade. Like this. There we go. So that's the first part of that skin done there on the leg. We'll do the rest of it, but for the sword blade, we're gonna start here at the base and just put it along in one smooth motion, like so. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. So with that all done, we should be all good on the tongues and things now. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Luxion Purple and Lahmian Medium. And we're going to apply this over top of the, well, all three of the tongues. But we're going to be doing a bit of blending. So what we're going to do is we're going to start up here, like so, just before we get to the kind of those lashing tips. I'm going to bring it all the way down. Just like that sort of thing. Because we don't want any awkward drying lines, we're going to do the other side as well. There we go. And we're going to keep going. Like this. And again, awkward drying lines. Do the other side. There we go. Now, this is where we're going to come to the blending part. We're basically going to bring it up to that corner. So here. Like that. Then we're going to wash the brush. Touch off the water. And then we're going to blend it into the pink. It's quite a long blend there, to be fair. And then on the tongues, we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to start there, wash the brush, touch off water, give blend, and then on Lucius's tongue, it's the same deal. Over the tip, wash the brush, give blend, like that. And we're going to do this one more time with this exact same mix. Whilst we're waiting for that to dry, what we're going to do is we're going to take that exact same mix again, 1-to-1 mix of Luxion Purple and Lahmian Medium. We're going to do a bit of blending on the sword. So what we're going to do is we're going to start here at the base of the blade, and we're going to apply this like so, coming up this half of the blade. We're then going to wash the brush, touch off the water, and then give it the blends. Like so. We're then going to do another one around about halfway, kind of around here. I'm just going to add a little streak, wash the brush, touch off the water, then give it the blends. It's a really small little one there in the middle. And then we're going to do it again along this side with the tip of the blade. Wash the brush, touch off water, give blend, like that. And then we're going to do the same thing there as well. Wash brush, touch off water, give blend. So with that blending done on the sword, don't worry if it looks a little bit rough. We are going to be doing some highlights on it a little bit later. But what we're going to do now is we're going to take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Lahmian Medium and Leviathan Purple. And we're going to be applying this over the top of the tip of the lash. So we're going to be applying this again in a bit of a blend, but we're not doing this on the tongues or anything. We're going to bring it down to around about there, like that. Then we're going to wash the brush, touch off the water, and then we're just going to blend it like so into the rest of the colour. And we do it on the other side as well. Like that. And there we go. So with that all done, it's once again back to Luxion Purple, only this time we're not going to be thinning it down or anything, or blending anything. We're going to be instead using this over the top of the grip of the sword. So with that all done, it's now time to work on the metallics, and the first of these is going to be some thinned down Iron Warriors. We're going to be applying this over top of all of the silver details, so this is going to be all of the trim, any mechanical bits, such as the ribbed cabling and stuff like that. Don't worry about the spikes on the leg. They will be silver, but we're going to do something else for them. And so with that all done, we're now going to take some thinned down Retributor Armour, and we're going to apply this over top of all of our remaining details, excluding the little rag on his hip. So with all of that Retributor Armour applied, before we can do the proper shading, we've got a little bit more extra stuff to do. And one of these is to take some Druchii Violet, which we are going to need for shading later. So you could do all of it now, but what we're going to do is we're going to take a small amount of the Druchii Violet, and we're going to use this to essentially recess shade the face. We'll do the same thing on the hands as well. And with that all done, we then take some Black Legion. And we're going to apply this over the top of the spikes on the leg down here. Like so. We're going to apply it over the top of the stitching. Across his tummy. And we're going to apply this over the top of the these things on the end of the lash whip. The barbs, maybe? Is that what they're called? So with that all done, it is now time to shade Lucius. And the colour we're going to be using first for this is some Nuln Oil. I'm going to be using this to firstly apply this over the top of the bit of cloth just here. Like so. And then what we're also going to do is we're going to use this to shade all the silver and all of the black power armor. And so with all that Nuln Oil applied, we're then going to take some Druchii Violet. I'm going to use this over the top of all the gold. And we'll also use it over the top of the grip of the sword as well. So with that all done, Lucius the Eternal is now what I would call a War Hipster battle ready, and he's looking pretty good. However, we're not going to leave it there, no. We're going to take it to the next level. We're going to do this by adding some layers and some highlights. Now, first of these is going to be a layer. It's going to be some thinned down Daemonette Hide. We're going to use this to pick out a couple of the faces in the armour. So we're going to start here on the shoulder, and we're just going to pick out this one just here. And we're essentially going to cover the whole thing. There's a little bit of fluff on the tip of my brush. There we go. And we just want to pick out the hair face. like so. And we'll do the same thing on this one, here on the chest. Like that. And down here on the leg, we will do this one at the back. Like that. But we won't do that one on the shoulder. So with that Daemonette Hide applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Xereus Purple. I'm going to do this over a couple of the other faces. So I'm going to go for this one here. On the shoulder. Like so. On the leg, we're going to go for this big one right here. Like that sort of thing. And on the chest, we're also going to do this little one. Under there. Like that. And so with that Xereus Purple applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Dawnstone. I'm going to use this to highlight all of the black details. So this is just going to give it a hint of that purple pushing through, while also having a consistent highlight. For all of the black. So with all of that Dawnstone applied, we're now going to take some thinned down Administratum Grey. I'm going to use this to add some just little spot highlights to the sharpest points in all of that black. So with that all done, the black armour is now finished. So what we can do is move on, and we're going to take some thinned down Pallid Wych Flesh. We're going to use this to highlight a ton of different details. So we're going to use this to highlight the rag here. Just like that sort of thing. We're going to use this to highlight the skin on his armour. Like so. We're going to use this to highlight the sword. like that, and I'm going to use this to highlight Lucius's skin. So with that all done, we're now going to take a teensy tiny little dot of Emperor's Children. I'm going to apply this over the top of his eyeballs. Like so. We'll come back and do the other one a little bit later, because what we're going to do next is we're going to also use this Emperor's Children to highlight the lash. Now, we're not going all the way down the lash. We're basically going to come up to a roundabout here. Where a different highlight will take over. So with all of that Emperor's Children applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Fulgrim Pink. I'm going to use this to add some little kind of spot highlights to all of that pink area. So we're just going to, for example, towards the top, we're going to add kind of a bit more of a substantial line highlight, like that sort of thing. I'm going to do a little bit more up that end, but when we come down here, what we want to do is we want to add these tiny little light points here and there. So with that Fulgrim Pink all applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Genestealer Purple. I'm going to use this over the darker part of the lash. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is move on to all the green. What we're going to do is we're going to start by taking some Sybarite Green. I'm going to use this to highlight all the cables. Like that sort of thing. However, the other thing that we're going to do is on these canisters and jars at the back, it's basically what we're going to do here is we're going to draw in some swirly patterns. So we're just going to draw some little tiny lines. Just like this sort of thing. And with that Sybarite Green all applied, we're then going to take a tiny amount of Gauss Blaster Green. I'm going to use this to add some little spot highlights to all that green. Like so. But including on those jars, what we're basically going to do here is just add some little dots. Like that sort of thing. And so with that all done, the time has now come once again to work on those metallics. So we're going to start by taking some thinned down Ironbreaker, and we're going to use this to highlight all the silver. With all that Ironbreaker now applied, we're going to take some thinned down Liberator Gold. I'm going to use this to highlight all the gold. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Ork Flesh. I'm going to apply this over the top of this one gem. And with that all done, we're then going to take some blood for the blood god. And we're going to use this in two different places. One, around this thing, this rune. What we're going to do is we're going to just apply the blood for the blood god in the inside of said rune. Like that. But what we're also going to do is on the little rag that we've got down here, what we're going to do is we're just going to add some little kind of, well, it's wipes basically. So we're just going to, going across it, apply some lines. Going like this. And like that. Add a big kind of smudge of it on this side. I'm just going to have a little bit of spotting elsewhere. Just like that. So with Lucius now complete, we're now going to very quickly work on the base. And we're going to start by taking some Black Templar. And we're going to apply this over the top of the rocks. But of course, feel free to do this however you like. And with that Black Templar all applied, we're then going to take some Black Legion. And we're going to apply this over the top of our Iron Hand Space Marine. So with that all done, we're then going to take some Thin Down Iron Warriors. We're going to apply this over top of all the metallic details. So this is going to be the Bionic Hand, the trim of the Space Marine shoulder pad, and there's bits of rebar sticking out of the base. So with that all done, we're then going to take some Aggaros Dunes and we're going to apply this over the top of all the soil to fit with the rest of our basing for the Emperor's Children. And so with that all done, we're then going to take some Agrax Earthshade and we're going to use this over the top of the metallics. And the reason for this is that we want them to be a little bit grimmer, a little bit darker, rather than shiny and clean. You know, this is a fallen Space Marine. Might have been there for some time. Certainly looks that way. So to that end, we're also going to apply this Agrax Earthshade over top of the Iron Hands logo to give it that kind of passage of time rather than it be a nice kind of brighter white. And so with that done, we're now going to finish off the base in the same style as mentioned as the rest of our Emperor's Children. So we're going to take some Armageddon Dust, and then once it's fully dry, we're going to give the Armageddon Dust and the Aggaros Dunes a shading of Berserker Bloodshade, and then finally we'll dry brush the whole thing using some Tyrant Skull. And so with that base now complete, Lucius the Eternal is now finished. And like I said at the top of the video, I'm quite glad to have done the set now. You can find all 4 of them here on YouTube, as indeed you can find all 4 of the Demon Primarchs as well. Yeah, quite satisfying really to the completionist brain of mine. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with them. I also think I've done a really good job, particularly that lash. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so by heading to patreon.com/warhipster, just like all of these wonderful amazing people have done. And alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button below, exactly like these fabulous folks have done scrolling up on the screen before you. There are so many of you out there that it really takes my breath away, and I cannot thank you enough for everything you do, as without you I wouldn't be able to keep making these Contrast Plus videos. And
If you really like this video and you want to send me a little thanks, just click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.